Akimbo is a boy who lives in a part of Africa where wild animals still roam free. One day, a lion cub is accidentally caught in his father's trap. Akimbo names it Simba. Akimbo is allowed to care for Simba until the lion is older. They soon become friends. A few months after Simba's arrival, Akimbo had gone to school one day later than usual, and he had been scolded by the teacher who believed in strict punctuality. The day got off to a bad start. It was shortly after the children had had their break that it happened. Akimbo was sitting on his bench when he heard shouting outside. "A lion!" somebody yelled. "There's a lion coming!" The whole class rose to its feet and looked out of the window. There, coming along the path toward the school, trotting along with his head held high in the air, was Simba. For a moment or two, Akimbo did not recognize him. This lion looked much bigger than Simba, but when he saw the patch of dark fur under his chin, he knew immediately who it was. The teacher did not know what to do. He raised his hand and then dropped it. Meanwhile, Simba had reached the edge of the clearing in which the school stood and was looking about, sniffing at the air inquisitively. Inquisitively means curiosity. Everything might have been all right had the teacher's cook not come around the corner of the school building at the wrong time. She had not seen Simba, and she walked unsuspectingly into the middle of the schoolyard. Unsuspectingly means without concern or without suspicion. Then she stopped. For a moment, the two of them stood absolutely still. The woman seemed to have frozen on the spot, and as for Simba, he wondered why she had stopped walking. Did she want to play? Did she want him to chase her? As if suddenly pricked by a great pin, the woman screamed at the top of her voice and gave a leap backward. For Simba, this was a signal. So she did want to play after all. Bounding forward, he chased her, soon caught up with her, and leapt playfully onto her back. Inside the classroom, the teacher shouted and began to dash for the door. "No!" called out Akimbo. "Let me go!" The teacher tried to stop him, but Akimbo pushed past and was soon out in the yard. Simba was now standing on top of the woman who was lying on the ground, moaning and sobbing with fright. "Simba!" called Akimbo. "Here! Here!" When Simba saw and heard his master, he was overjoyed. Leaving the poor woman where she was, he bounded across to Akimbo and began to lick joyfully at his knees and ankles. Akimbo bent down and ruffled the fur around the lion's neck. "You're not to come here," he whispered. "You'll get us both into trouble." Akimbo was right. There was trouble, and an awful lot of it. The poor woman was unhurt, but she was, of course, very angry, as was the teacher. Still keeping a good distance away from Simba, the teacher ordered Akimbo to take the lion back home and to wait there. He would come over later that day to speak to Akimbo's father. Akimbo walked back, sunk in unhappiness. Simba seemed perfectly cheerful, but then he didn't know what trouble he had caused. "I hope they don't try to take you away from me," Akimbo said as they made their way home. "I couldn't bear to lose you, Simba. I really couldn't." Now I'll read the questions. You can pause this at any time so that you can make your choices or go back and listen to another part of the recording. Number 1. When Akimbo's teacher first sees Simba outside, he most likely thinks Simba is A. dangerous, B. friendly, C. injured, D. lost. Pause and answer. Number 2. Simba chases the cook because A. she moves too close, B. she smells like food, C. Simba is frightened by her, or D. Simba thinks she wants to play. You may pause and answer. Number 3. Why does Simba leave the cook? A. The cook starts to cry. B. Akimbo calls Simba's name. C. The teacher yells at Simba. D. Akimbo wants to go home. You may pause and answer. Number 4. Akimbo would most likely describe Simba as A. angry, B. fearful, C. playful, D. shy. You may pause and answer. Read this sentence from the story. A few months after Simba's arrival, Akimbo had gone to school one day later than usual, and he had been scolded by the teacher who believed in strict punctuality. In this context, someone who believes in punctuality believes in A, being on time, B, being forgiving, C, protecting animals, or D, rewarding students. You may pause and answer.